You guys are going to be so proud of me. I've finally done it after many hundreds of requests from you guys and a lot of procrastination on my part. I've finally done it. I've gone out, purchased the Spyderco UKPK, and that's the only thing that we're going to be talking about in this video. So like I said, this is a knife that I've been putting off buying for quite a long time for no particular reason. I just haven't done it. I couldn't find the one that I wanted probably. But I managed to pick this one up that I've bought now at the UK Sharp Show a few weeks ago. And as soon as I saw this one, I knew it was coming home with me. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'm having it now. It needs to happen. The one that I managed to pick up is the Heinnie Haynes exclusive one, which is super cool. And where it was secondhand, buying it from a guy that buys and sells knives, he'd actually upgraded the pocket clip, which is something we'll talk about in a bit, which is one of the biggest selling points for me on this knife. Before we get into all of that, let's talk about the specs. The version I got is the version with S30V blade steel, which for me is like the perfect mid-range blade steel, I'd say. For me, having S30V on this is ideal. I think they do a Magna Cut one, they do loads of other cheaper ones as well, but S30V is in that mid-range, so it means that it's still fairly budget friendly, but not a steel that you're gonna have to keep touching up all the time or is just gonna hold an edge like a piece of paper. The blade itself, I believe, is 2.9 inches and the cutting edge on the blade is, I think, 2.4 or 2.5. There's a bit of stipulation over the blade length on these knives, but everywhere I've looked has pretty much said 2.9 inches and I've measured mine, also 2.9 inches. And I'm not talking about mine how you think I might be. That's only one. And where this is the Heinnie Haynes exclusive, the same as all of their exclusive knives, I believe, they've got the signature Heinnie Haynes red G10 scales. They recently sent me out their newest exclusive, which is the Lucas Burnley design CRKT Squid Compact. That's another UK legal knife, and that again has the Heinnie Haynes signature G10 red scales. I think these scales actually look nicer than the standard ones that they have on them. Spyderco have their normal knives and then they have their lightweight designs like the Para 3 lightweight and stuff like that. And the scales on those lightweight knives are what put me off. I just think they look really tacky and cheap. And that's the same scales that they generally put on the UKPK. It's their cheaper line of knives, more lightweight, so they put the cheaper lightweight scales on. So the fact that this has the nice, standard, clean red G10 was another selling point for me. Feels great in the hand, the size is great, you can get a very comfortable 4-finger grip on it. There's a bit of a finger choil up top, which is useful for two things, choking up a little bit on the knife, and you can put your index finger in this choil, and obviously where this knife doesn't lock, being UK legal, it means that if this does start to fold up on you, having your index finger in that choil will slow down the knife closing up on you if that's going to happen. There's plenty of companies out there that do sell replacement aftermarket scales for these knives and obviously many, many others. One that comes to mind, UK based, is I believe they're called Vapor Puffin. They use titanium, brass, copper, all of the above as most companies do, and they make incredible kits for these UKPKs. So I'll link them down below along with links to the UKPK and Heinnie Haynes. But like I said, you can get a very, very comfortable purchase on this knife. 4-finger grip. And the way the scales are shaped, it's sort of shaped the way that your hand will mold to this knife when you're holding it, which is great. It makes it feel like you're not actually holding anything. It's wonderful. I'm not sure what the holding in place mechanism is on this because it doesn't seem to have that back spring like a slip joint. And I can't actually see any detents on the inside because there's actually no liners in this knife at all. I haven't taken it apart, so there could just be detent balls in there somewhere holding it open. But this is open so solidly, it's almost like it's locked. It is 100% the safest non-locking knife that I have ever used. No doubt about it. I've had no trouble with this folding up on me in the slightest. It barely even moves when I'm using it. Yes, I only use it for light duty stuff because I'm not stupid. I'm not going to use it for something like processing wood. But for anything that you're going to need to use this knife for on a daily basis, it's going to be able to do it. It's actually fantastic. I don't know what the mechanism is, like I've said, but other companies that are making UK legal knives take note of what they've done in here because this is it. This is what we need our UK legal knives to be like. If they can't have locking knives, we need knives that are held open so tightly that it's virtually locked. This is incredible. Like I said, one of the biggest selling points that sold this particular knife to me was the fact that the guy I bought it from had upgraded the clip. For some reason, companies have this thing with putting wire clips on cheaper, lighter weight knives. Wire clips just suck. I'm a hater for them. I can't stand them, okay? They look like shit for one. They're weak. And they're just tacky, I think. Like, I've got knives that are 400 plus pounds or dollars, and they have a wire clip on them. If you're spending that much money on a knife, you want a nice clip. Anyway, getting to the point, Ted, the Spyderco UKPK standard ships with a wire clip. But the guy that I'd bought this from has actually upgraded this to the Lynch clip, which is brilliant because it's a proper, tough, good-looking deep carry clip that, in this case, is the perfect replacement for a shitty wire clip. One thing that's going to keep a lot of you happy, I do believe that these are USA made, not Chinese made, because on the side of this, the same with a Para 3 or a PM2, it says Golden, Colorado, USA, Earth, which is what they put on, I believe, their USA made knives, because I've got the Spyderco Tenacious, which is a Chinese made knife. That doesn't have it on there. So that is one thing that genuinely helps this knife stand out a little bit more, is the fact that it is USA made and it's still sat at a very reasonable price of starting around £100. And then obviously, depending on the variant you get with blade steels and scales and clips and anything else that you build up, they can go up from there. One thing that I do quite like about this knife, which is something I wouldn't normally say, is the fact that there's no fancy ways of opening it. And what I mean by that is, think about your standard Spyderco Para 3 or the PM2s. You can Spidey flick it and it'll fly open, or thumb flick it, it'll fly open. Even UK legal knives are now doing this. With the Who knives, they've got thumb studs, you can thumb flick them, Spidey flick them. Some of them also have a flipper tab, so you can flip them open. And this is all fun, but none of these knives actually stay open very well when they're open. So I think the fact that with this knife, you can't flick it open fast. You have to actually push the blade the whole way open, kind of the same as you would with a slip joint, only it's a different kind of mechanism to a slip joint, and you can open this one-handed, which I think is great. The fact that you can't flick this open means that I think it's even better for UK legal carry, because in the UK, people are proper pussies about knives. If you're in public, even if your knife's legal, even if it was like a 1-inch blade and you flicked it open, say for example this Avivi Kyvie, it's like the least threatening knife in the world, but if you flick that open in public in the UK, someone would moan, someone would get scared, which I think is just ridiculous, but it is what it is. So the fact that this is still a one-handed opening knife, which is very convenient, unlike slip joints, but the fact that it can't be flicked open, and the fact that you have to manually open the blade the entire way, I think is actually a very good selling point for this knife, and genuinely makes it top tier for UK legal carry. And that pretty much covers the entire knife already. Like, it's a super simple, minimalist, lightweight knife. No locking mechanisms to talk about, no locking mechanisms to go wrong. It is as simple and straightforward as a knife goes, and I think this is about as good as you can get for a UK legal carry. I'm not going to go as far as to say this is the best UK legal carry of all time, because I haven't had it long enough, I haven't tested it long enough to be able to securely say that, but what I will say is it is definitely up there in at least the top 5, if not the top 3. It's genuinely a fantastic knife for the money, and regardless of whether you're in the UK and you want this, or whether you're in a country that you can carry a lock-in knife, this genuinely is a great knife to add to your collection, to carry with you wherever. If you're from a foreign country that you're allowed to carry lock-in knives, say you're in the States, some states have different laws on different knives, so having a knife like this that is under 3 inches and doesn't lock means that you are genuinely going to be safe carrying this wherever you go pretty much in the world, other than like Finland, where you can't even carry a pair of fucking shoes, I think. But perfect road trip knife for countries like America, where you have many states with different laws. Perfect knife to carry around Europe if you're doing a tour around Europe. And the perfect knife to carry daily on your person in the UK with no trouble, because it's perfectly legal. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Also comment on what you next want me to review, because this is what you've been asking for a long time now. I will do a longer, long-term review in the future, but like I said, this was more of a first impressions review of this knife after the excitement of finally buying it and trying it. So, let me know what you think down below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of videos coming soon. It's that time of year. Black Friday, holiday season, Christmas deals, gift guides, you name it. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so notifications turn on when I post videos. And don't miss a thing. Spyderco UKPK, absolutely incredible little pocket knife. You need one. This will be linked down below. See you later.